I go over there and I see this picture of Claressa Shields and Bud, Maserati Bud. Baby, I remember posting this and she threatened to send me a cease and desist note to take me to court because she said it's a lie. Why would I put that out there that she messed with Maserati Bud? So she must have caught some backlash from Papoose when I posted. So I'm all in the comments leaving my comment and being nosy, and 50 Cent right. No, you just got off the phone with him. Don't play with me. Yes, I posted this pic of them the beginning of February 2025, honey. She was about to lose her mind when she seen this pic and video on my page. Remy don't know that. Remy think they together, but Papoose ain't with no damn Claressa. Claressa Shields is with Maserati Bud from out of Miami-Dade County that currently lives in the A.
So when can I get that interview?
She is with 50 Cent home.
Y'all, what started as a petty internet back and forth just detonated into one of the messiest celebrity scandals the internet has seen in a long time. And now the entire timeline is exploding after one move from 50 Cent that nobody saw coming. Because this time, it wasn't just trolling. It wasn't just memes. According to the posts now circulating across social media, 50 Cent allegedly dropped receipts, messages that people online claim could connect Claressa Shields to a man known as Maserati Bud. Within minutes, screenshots started spreading like wildfire, blogs jumped on the story, and suddenly the internet wasn't laughing anymore, it was investigating. And here's where things get darker. Sources across social media began pointing out that the messages allegedly showed conversations about meeting up, asking for addresses, and even what some users claim looked like shared locations. Now, whether those texts actually prove anything is a completely different question. But the damage? That's already been done. Because the second those screenshots hit the internet, the narrative changed overnight. Claressa Shields immediately pushed back, insisting the accusations were completely false and warning that legal action could follow. But by then, the story had already escaped the internet's control. Because once a scandal starts trending online, it doesn't slow down. It mutates. And the most shocking part? The post containing those alleged messages reportedly vanished not long after it appeared. Deleted. Gone. But not before thousands of users captured the screenshots. Now the internet is asking one brutal question. Did 50 Cent really expose something? Or is this the beginning of an even bigger war? Because if more receipts drop, this situation might explode in ways nobody is ready for.
I sneezed on this, and he up here talking about some, I ain't want to have to expose you, Claressa. What? How do you recognize a weirdo? Somebody you don't know coming around you 24/7 doing this. Yeah, you all in the back. He got his phone, flip the camera. Oh yeah, look who I'm with. Yeah, look where I'm at. This man been doing that since the first day I met him.
What makes this situation even more explosive is that none of this drama started as a major scandal. In fact, at the beginning, most people online thought it was just another typical social media feud, the kind that celebrities throw at each other every few weeks. A few jokes, a few sarcastic comments, maybe a meme or two, and then everyone moves on. But this time, things didn't move on. Instead, the tension kept building. Slowly, quietly, and then suddenly, it erupted. It all traces back to the moment when tensions between 50 Cent, Papoose, and Claressa Shields began surfacing online. At first, the posts looked like harmless trolling. Fans were laughing, reposting clips, and assuming this was just another playful back and forth between personalities who knew how to keep the internet entertained. But behind the jokes, something else was happening. Observers began noticing that 50 Cent's posts were becoming more pointed, more direct, and far more personal. The tone had shifted. The comments were sharper. And suddenly, Claressa Shields found herself right in the center of the storm. Then came the allegation that turned everything upside down. According to posts circulating across social media, claims began appearing that Claressa Shields had allegedly been connected to a man known online as Maserati Bud. At first, the rumor sounded like just another piece of internet gossip, something that would disappear within hours. But instead of fading away, the rumor grew louder. Within minutes, blogs began reposting the claim. Twitter threads exploded. Comment sections filled with speculation. Fans started digging through old photos, old posts, old appearances, searching for anything that could connect the dots. And that's when the situation escalated from gossip to full-blown scandal.
Feel like I was targeted. This dude came up to me. I got the footage. This dude came up to me up at 50 Cent shit up in Shreveport where 50 blockhead flew me in at, paid for my room, called me on stage, performed his songs, shouting me out, holding my belt, all type of shit. This is where I met this weirdo at. So now that I've met this weirdo here.
Because not long after the rumor started circulating, screenshots of alleged messages began appearing online. The images quickly spread across multiple platforms, showing what users claimed were conversations involving meeting times, food plans, and even a request for an address. To some people, the messages looked harmless. To others, they looked suspicious. But the internet rarely waits for proof before choosing sides. And suddenly, the narrative had shifted again. Instead of debating whether the feud was real or just entertainment, people were now asking a completely different question. Was there actually something happening behind the scenes that nobody knew about? Meanwhile, Claressa Shields wasted no time responding. She firmly denied the allegations, calling the claims false and accusing people online of spreading damaging lies about her. In several responses, she made it clear that she had no romantic or intimate relationship with the man being mentioned. But in the world of internet scandals, denial alone rarely stops the momentum. Because by that point, the conversation had already spread too far. And then something even stranger happened. A post reportedly surfaced showing the alleged text messages, a post many users believe was connected to 50 Cent's account. But not long after it appeared, the post disappeared, deleted. However, by then it was already too late. Screenshots had been taken. And once screenshots exist, the internet never forgets. Now those images are circulating everywhere, fueling endless speculation and debate. Some viewers believe the messages are proof that something was going on behind the scenes. Others argue that the messages could easily be taken out of context. But one thing is certain. The drama between these three names, 50 Cent, Claressa Shields, and Papoose, has now transformed into a viral controversy that shows no signs of slowing down. And if more information surfaces, this situation could become even bigger than anyone expected.
The first picture we ever take, I'm in all white. It's at the all white party that Blockhead threw. So he done threw this party. Let me see, where this shit at? Shit to me. September, September, October. Let me go back here. August. This is the picture of me in the bozo right here. Right? This is bozo, right? He made a caption on his page. In the damn caption.
But if people thought the situation would calm down after those screenshots surfaced, they clearly underestimated how quickly internet drama can spiral out of control. Because once the alleged messages began circulating, the story took on a life of its own. Blogs started dissecting every detail. Comment sections exploded with theories. Some users zoomed into the screenshots frame by frame, trying to analyze timestamps, wording, and even the tone of the messages. Suddenly, what had started as a simple feud was turning into a full-scale online investigation. And right in the middle of it all sat three names the internet couldn't stop talking about: 50 Cent, Claressa Shields, and Papoose. Now here's where the situation became even more complicated. According to several social media users who claim to have been following the story closely, the alleged messages supposedly showed casual conversations about meeting up, asking whether food had been prepared, and later requesting an address. On their own, those kinds of messages might not prove anything. But in the context of the rumors spreading online, they quickly became the centerpiece of the entire controversy. People began asking questions. Why were these conversations happening? Were they innocent exchanges taken out of context or something more? And perhaps the most uncomfortable question of all, did Papoose know about any of this? The internet, as usual, didn't wait for answers. Speculation started spreading at a terrifying speed. Some bloggers suggested the messages could hint at secret meetups. Others warned that the situation might be far more complicated than it appeared. A few even began digging through older photos and videos, trying to find any moment where Claressa Shields and Maserati Bud might have crossed paths. Whether those connections actually meant anything was another matter entirely. But by that point, the rumor machine was already running at full speed. Meanwhile, Claressa Shields continued pushing back hard against the accusations. She made it clear that she believed the entire situation was being twisted into something it wasn't. According to her responses, the narrative spreading online was completely false and damaging. She also hinted that legal consequences could follow for those continuing to push the claims. But that warning didn't slow the internet down. If anything, it made people even more curious. Because in the world of viral controversy, nothing attracts attention faster than the possibility of a lawsuit. The moment Claressa mentioned potential legal action, bloggers and gossip channels doubled their coverage. And then people started noticing something else. 50 Cent wasn't backing away. Instead of directly arguing with Claressa in long statements, he appeared to be doing something far more calculated. Observers pointed out that he was reposting clips, tagging accounts, and letting other voices online carry the story forward. It was almost as if he was guiding the conversation without fully stepping into the spotlight himself. That strategy only added fuel to the fire, because every repost, every caption, every subtle comment sent the internet into another frenzy of speculation. Some viewers believed 50 Cent was simply trolling in his usual sarcastic style.
She said, yeah, I'ma slide about this one right here. And it had a song talking about, yeah, you know, I slide for you. You know, I ride for you. Whatever. And I said, okay, that's weird. It say, he wrote and say, I appreciate the pic. Coach and Manu are family. I stay in Atlanta. Like I said, I'm spinning about you. I didn't even respond to him because I don't even know who you are. What do you mean you're going to spin about me and I don't know you? Don't spin.
Others believed he was intentionally keeping the pressure on. But regardless of the motive, the result was the same. The controversy kept growing. And as the hours passed, one detail continued to haunt the entire conversation. The alleged post showing those text messages had reportedly disappeared, deleted, vanished from the timeline. But by then it was already impossible to erase. Screenshots of the post had already spread across multiple platforms. Some users claimed they saved the images the moment they appeared. Others began reposting them with their own commentary, asking followers what they thought the messages really meant. Soon the internet had split into two completely different camps. One group believed the screenshots suggested there might be something hidden behind the scenes. The other group insisted the messages could easily be misinterpreted. But while the debate continued, one person remained noticeably quiet in the middle of the chaos: Papoose. And that silence only made the situation feel even more tense. Because with every passing hour, viewers kept asking the same question. Was he watching all of this unfold? And if he was, what was he thinking? The longer the silence lasted, the more intense the speculation became. Some fans believed he was staying out of the drama on purpose. Others feared the situation might eventually force him to respond publicly. And if that moment comes, it could change everything. Because right now, the story is still unfolding. The alleged messages are still circulating. The accusations are still being debated. And the internet is still waiting to see what happens next. But if there's one thing history has shown about viral celebrity scandals, it's this: the biggest twist almost always arrives when people least expect it. By this point, the controversy had already crossed the line from internet gossip into something far more unpredictable. What started as a heated back and forth online was now evolving into a full-scale public spectacle, and every new hour seemed to bring another twist that kept viewers glued to the story. Because the more people dug into the situation, the stranger everything began to look. Online forums, fan pages, and gossip blogs started piecing together timelines. They went back through old posts, old photos, and even past appearances where different people involved in the story might have crossed paths. Every tiny detail was suddenly being treated like a potential clue. And that's when the tension surrounding the alleged messages reached a completely new level. Some internet users began claiming that the timing of those conversations looked suspicious. Others pointed out that if the messages were real, they appeared to show coordination about meeting up privately. Of course, none of that automatically proves anything. Messages can easily be misunderstood, taken out of context, or even manipulated. But on the internet, perception often spreads faster than facts. And perception was turning the story into something explosive. At the same time, Claressa Shields continued standing her ground. She maintained that the accusations being thrown around online were false and misleading. According to her responses, the entire narrative had been twisted into something dramatic simply to fuel online controversy. But by now, the internet had already chosen its battlefield. Some viewers rallied behind her, arguing that viral gossip culture often destroys reputations without real evidence. Others remained skeptical, insisting that the screenshots raised too many questions to ignore. And while the debate raged on, another uncomfortable possibility began creeping into the conversation. What if this wasn't just a random internet fight? Some analysts of online culture started suggesting that the situation might actually be part of a larger strategy. After all, 50 Cent has built a reputation over the years for knowing exactly how to control a viral moment. His social media presence is famous for turning small jokes into massive trending topics. That's why many observers began asking whether this entire situation was being fueled deliberately. Was it simply trolling taken too far? Or was someone carefully keeping the spotlight fixed on the controversy? Because even when he wasn't directly addressing the allegations, 50 Cent's activity online seemed to keep the story alive. Reposts appeared, captions sparked speculation, and every small move sent fans scrambling to interpret what it might mean. Meanwhile, the alleged messages continued circulating everywhere. People were reposting them across multiple platforms, debating every word. Some claimed the tone sounded casual and harmless. Others insisted the wording hinted at something far more private. But the most mysterious part of the story still remained unresolved: the disappearance of the original post. The fact that the alleged messages appeared online and then quickly vanished only deepened the intrigue. For some viewers, that raised suspicion. For others, it suggested the entire situation had gotten out of hand faster than anyone expected. Either way, the screenshots were now impossible to erase. They had already spread across the internet like wildfire. And once information spreads that far, it almost never disappears completely. As the drama continued unfolding, one thing became increasingly clear: the internet wasn't going to let this story fade quietly. Every new reaction, every new denial, every new repost only added another layer of tension to an already volatile situation. The longer the controversy stayed unresolved, the more people became invested in seeing how it would end. Would Claressa actually pursue legal action? Would more alleged evidence appear online? And perhaps most importantly, would Papoose eventually step forward and break his silence? Because if he does, the impact could completely shift the narrative once again. For now, the situation remains suspended in a strange and uneasy moment, a viral storm where rumors, denials, and speculation continue colliding in real time. But if history has taught us anything about celebrity controversies, it's that stories like this rarely end quietly. Sometimes the biggest revelation arrives when the public thinks the drama is already over. And right now, the internet is watching closely, waiting to see whether the next post, the next message, or the next response will finally reveal the truth behind a scandal that refuses to fade away. And just when people thought the chaos might finally slow down, the internet started asking a far more dangerous question. What if this story isn't over yet? Because the reality is, scandals like this rarely explode once and disappear. They evolve. They grow. And sometimes the most shocking revelations don't surface until everyone thinks the drama is already finished. Right now, the timeline is flooded with speculation, theories, and non-stop debate. Every screenshot, every repost, every cryptic caption keeps the controversy alive. Supporters are defending Claressa Shields with everything they have, while critics are insisting that the alleged receipts raise serious questions that still haven't been answered. And sitting in the center of it all is one uncomfortable truth. Once the internet smells a scandal, it never stops digging. People are already searching for more messages, more connections, more hidden details that could either destroy the entire narrative or blow the situation wide open. Because if even one new piece of evidence surfaces, this entire controversy could explode to a level nobody involved is prepared for. The pressure is building. The silence from key players is getting louder. And the internet is watching every move. Will Claressa Shields actually follow through with legal action and shut this story down for good? Or will more alleged receipts surface that push this feud into an even darker chapter? And perhaps the biggest wildcard of all, will Papoose finally step forward and say what everyone is waiting to hear? Because one statement, one post, one unexpected leak could flip this entire story upside down overnight. For now, the drama is still unfolding in real time, and millions of eyes are locked on the next update. So stay alert, stay watching, and stay locked in because this scandal might just be getting started.